the radio telescopes of Cambridge University looking deep into outer space, and they're overlooking this antique invention of the modern world, a recreation of a wonderful traditional hay meadow. This remarkable field at Barton near Cambridge is the work of the Countryside Restoration Trust. In contrast to the dull, regimented cereals which dominate so much of the county, here a quite different crop has been deliberately sown, the flowers of the field. Inspiration for the whole idea of rescuing our wildflowers and restoring our hay meadows is eminent octogenarian scientist Dr. Miriam Rothschild. She's lived most of her life at Ashton Wold near Oundle. Today, the house her father built is so smothered by creepers that it's almost been absorbed back into the woodland. Miriam, when did you first get interested in wildflowers?
Well, I think I was born interested in wildflowers, but I think naturalists are born, they're not made. And I can remember at 4 years old being absolutely crazy about white violets. It was my greatest joy.
Why hay meadows?
Well, you know, when one was a child, one was used to flowering hay meadows, and I've said this hundreds of times. I sort of woke up one morning, looked round, saw I was living on a snooker table. Everything had gone.
What made you decide to do something about it?
Well, I went for a lecture of Professor Mellenby, and he said that it's a shame, this ploughing up of all these medieval meadows, because it would take 1,000 years to reproduce one. And I said to him after lectures, I completely agree with you, but I could make a very good imitation in 10 years. And then I started trying. It took me 15, but I think it was quite successful.
While farmers were using the full armoury of herbicides to maximise their production, Dr. Miriam, the heretic, enjoyed doing just the opposite, crusading for weeds. 60 species line the shelves of her seed store. Her skill is in blending them together. And this is where all the special mixtures are made?
We make the mixtures in here, yes. Some of the mixtures, of course, are already made, and these are the ones in the big sacks. They're already made. But these we make up afterwards.
And you keep them all in little bottles?
Yes, all bottles, and we put camphor in the necks to keep the bugs out.
Smells like my old grandmother's Christmas
cake. That's right,
cake.
it's mothballs. Just what it is.
And this one, Devil's Bit scabious. Yeah. That's a lovely flower.
Yes, that's a nice thing. Well, one of the fritillaries like that very much.
Which famous mixture is this, Miriam?
This is the farmer's nightmare mixture.
Why is it a nightmare?
Used to be a nightmare to people who grew corn. You know, in Shakespeare's day, the corn cockle, this thing, it's rather a toxic plant, and it was regarded as a terrible thing to have corn cockle in your field. In Shakespeare, you hear the cockle of sedition. That's about it. And then they didn't like cornflowers either.
I haven't seen cornflowers since I was a small boy.
No, isn't it a pity? They've been so easily gotten out of the fields.
And the yellow one?
Ah, that's the corn marigold. That's not, you know, that was brought into Britain about 100 years ago, 150 years ago. It certainly wasn't here in Shakespeare's day.
And why have you grown it?
Because it's such a beautiful mixture. And nowadays, you see, it's a weed, and if farmers want to get rid of it, that's why I've called it the farmer's nightmare, and especially the poppies. They're very unpopular with farmers.
And it's full of bees and insects.
Oh, it's a lovely thing. It's one of my favourite mixes. It's awfully good in gardens.
Well, I think you should rename it. We don't want farmer's nightmare, we want Miriam's mixture.
The farmer's nightmare is very popular.
These lovely fields are Miriam Rothschild's embroidered monument, but never content to rest upon her past achievements, even in her late 80s, she's still crusading. And what is your next project?
Well, I really like to get into the hedgerows now, because people are putting hedgerows back. And I'd like to put all the wonderful range of wildflower hedgerow plants. I mean, things like bullace, you know, the plum, that's the first one, and then whitethorn, blackthorn, and then you can make sloe gin if you have good blackthorn in.
And so we go from flowering meadow to flowering hedgerow.
Yes.
That's lovely.
And fruit cups.
Yes.
And a bit of gin, sloes.